Suzanne's Paparazzi Jewelry, 24/7 shopping available. 160920 is the code. Show her some love, like she showed us. K&A Custom Crafts on Facebook.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. I am the Sarge, and I just want to say welcome to the Sports Compound. Man, you've probably seen me on the Coast to Coast Network with Between the Ropes, which is a great show, by the way, and also the Four Bros. But I'm like, you know what? Let's try to go out on this solo run that we got right here. So I am live, actually. I've been on the Anchor app for a long time, and I do have some listeners on there, but now I am actually live video on Facebook with Coast to Coast. So yes, I'm going to rant a little bit today. First, I'm going to go off on the NBA. LeBron James has made the news today. Man, I love it when he makes the news. Man, I don't get this guy whatsoever. So here's the thing. LeBron James, he's a great basketball player. I'll give him that. His antics, I don't know about that. If he wants to try to preserve the game for the youth and everything else, he is pretty much failing out that with all his gestures and everything else in this. Latest gesture that happened, a Hall of Famer took a jab at LeBron James. What happened last week? LeBron James hit a shot. I forget who he was playing. I think it was against the Pacers, and after that shot, LeBron James decided to make a PG Sports into PG-13 just by grabbing himself. With that, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar came out in LeBron's talking about the flamboyant celebration that LeBron James had. This is what Kareem says. For me, winning is enough. Why do you need to do stupid childish dance and disrespect other team on the court? It doesn't make sense. And here's the kicker. Goats don't dance, end quote of Hakeem Jabbar. I think that was an awesome comment that he had about LeBron James right there. Quit the antics, shut up, play basketball. That's where I'm at with that. So let's move on. So yesterday we had a big day in football yesterday, and we have the elephant in the room as we speak right now. Not this room, but the NFL room. With that being said, the Detroit Lions beat the Vikings 29-27. So what does this say for the Vikings? Bye-bye, Zimmer. Mike Zimmer, your seat was warm when you came in, and guess what? It just got much warmer when it came out. I mean, if the Lions always find a way to lose. Come on. You could find a way to win. And Isaiah's messaging here saying, what up, Sarge? I'm going to say, what up to you, Isaiah? How are you doing? So, again, Detroit Lions got their first win, the first time since December of 2020. So, who are actually the real fans in football? Would you have to say that the Detroit Lions fans are the most loyal fans in football? Look at the Detroit Lions. What championship games have they won? Yes, before the NFL, they did win a championship game. What have they done with this franchise? They have done nothing. So with that being said, this franchise, to me, kind of deserves some of the loyal fans. But the fans who wear the paper bags over their heads, they can take those paper bags off and you can show your ugly face and stop being a bandwagon fan on that one. With that being said, I'm going to move over to the Baltimore Ravens. This is my rant with you with this. The Baltimore Ravens will never win a Super Bowl with Lamar Jackson as a quarterback. I mean, look at the guy. In the last two games, he threw 5 interceptions. I mean, that you can't win football games throwing that many interceptions. It's impossible. You can't do it. And he always has troubles throwing the ball. That's right. He always has, even in college. For his career, he has 84 touchdowns, great on passing, but he has 31 interceptions. This year is the most interceptions that he's thrown in all the 4 years that he's been in the league, which is at 13 right there. So with Lamar Jackson, is he really the guy to help? I don't think so. Who has been the best quarterback for the Falcons beyond Joe Falco? Can you put Lamar Jackson in that case right there? Yeah, he won an MVP. Yeah, he does all the fancy dancy footwork and everything else, but yeah, that's about it. But with that, what else does he provide? He can't throw the ball. I mean, his passer rating or completions is at 64%. I mean, you cannot compete. You cannot be an elite quarterback when you're throwing 64% for passing. It took forever to Joel Falco to get the elite pay status, is what they called on that one. So yes, I am up here also in the Pacific Northwest, and the best one is, of course, I have to talk about the Seahawks here. The Seahawks are not my team. I'm going to put that one out there. My team is the Panthers, and the Panthers are no way going to make the playoffs or anytime Super Bowl run down the future road once they get a quarterback. PJ Walker, cough, cough. Yesterday, the Seahawks squared off against the 49ers, and the Seahawks won that game by 30-23. This game really, to me, was kind of I don't know, this I think it was offensive failures for me from all the mistakes throwing the ball. Yes, Russell Wilson threw an interception. Jimmy G threw 2 interceptions. Yes, I understand he got 2 touchdowns at that, but if that pressure comes, he's a sitting duck in there. With that, everyone here thinks the Seahawks are about to make the playoffs. That is not true. They are not going to make the playoffs. They only won 4 games so far. They're 4-8. There's no way you can do it against the LA Rams. You have the Cardinals. You're going to have to probably face the 49ers again. There's no way that the Seahawks are going to win. With that being said, who should really leave the Seattle Seahawks? Who should let go? Who's more valuable? Is it Russell Wilson or Pete Carroll? I mean, you can easily replace a coach, but will the coach mesh with a veteran quarterback? Or get a first-round draft pick for a guy who's a little banged up first time in his career and draft another quarterback? I'd say get rid of Pete Carroll. He's done because he doesn't let his defensive coordinator call the plays. He's just an admin assistant. That's all he is, because Pete Carroll runs the defense for the Seattle Seahawks. That's why they're so miserable and so forth with that one. Those are my 2 big elephants in the room for the NFL. But tonight we got Monday Night Football. It is going to be a great one. We got the Buffalo Bills versus the New England Patriots. I mean, to be honest, I think the Patriots are the best team as of right now. I mean, the Patriots have won in the last 5 games. They won all of their 5 games with that. Well, Buffalo, they've won. I want to say they won about three games out of those 5 games right there. The last one came to the New Orleans Saints. But the things with the Patriots, though, look at their wins. Their only close win was against Houston, where they won 25-22. And big old baddie Bill Belichick is up at the helm coaching Mac Jones, his apprentice from Tom Brady. Also, Josh McDaniels is back there as well. He's not leaving the Patriots, so I don't want to hear any talk about Josh McDaniels leaving the Patriots. That is not going to happen. Look how that worked out for the Broncos and the Colts. So with that being said, I am taking the Patriots to win this game in Buffalo. I'm going to say the score is going to be 24-17. I just don't think Buffalo is all that hot as people think they are. They started out hot, but they've cooled off in those last few games right here. And they're against teams that don't do much. You lost to the Jacksonville Jaguars, for Pete's sake. And you got blown out by the Colts. So with that, the New England Patriots are going to win the NFC East. I don't care what anybody says about that one. So that is enough speaking of the Colts, I did bring up the Colts. How about them Colts? I mean, they've been playing so hot lately. They're probably one of the hottest teams besides the Patriots that are playing. They've won 4 of their last 4 games. They crushed the Texans. They held on to the Buccaneers to the last game. They crushed the Bills. They gave the Jaguars a little chance. They beat the Jets handedly. Like, the only losses is from really above teams with above 500, except for the Seahawks, which was the very first game of the season. But the Colts, Jonathan Taylor, who is going to be the MVP of the season at 1,300 yards so far, with 16 touchdowns. I think, you know what? The Colts are going to make the playoffs one way or another. Either if they're going to win the division, or they're going to make the wild card. I don't know. What do you guys think? If Isaiah, you're there, you let me know. You'll probably say somehow the 49ers are going to make the playoffs, which I can see it happening, but I hardly don't with that one. All right, guys. That is enough of my NFL talk. I'm going to go right now to the NCAA football. College football, nothing's better than college football than the bowl series. You cannot go wrong with college football during bowl season, which starts after this week, actually, because this Saturday is a marquee matchup. You got Navy versus Army, it's Army versus Navy, and Navy have some pretty cool unis, even though I think they look more of a different military branch. But you know what? I like them. This is a traditional game. Will I be watching it? I don't think so, because it's a game I don't want to watch. But let's talk about the top teams in college football. For one, I mean, we've got our standings. We got Alabama at number 1. You got Michigan. You got Georgia. And lo and behold, the voters finally decided someone out of the Power 5 to be in the top 4, Cincinnati. Cincinnati is doing justice for UCF from back in 2017, where they went and won their games. Or actually, they went undefeated during the playoffs. And they won their game also. With that, last year, Cincinnati almost squeaked by Georgia. They had Georgia on the ropes. The quarterback, he didn't play all that too good for JT Daniels. He didn't play all that great game for the Georgia Bulldogs. I don't care what his stats were. He did not play well. If he played well, Georgia should have been crushed, or they should have crushed Cincinnati, but that was not the case. With that being said, should college football be expanded? Or actually in the FBS series? Because the FCS series, they allow 12 teams in there. 12 teams. As we just allow 4 teams. And of course, we got people who get to vote where these teams get to be. Are these teams, like, no one wants to see Georgia versus Alabama again right off the bat? It's like, heck, I do. I want to see how Georgia responds right off the bat. That's me. That's how it should be. But I guess I don't have I guess I don't have the sway in saying what the voters should do and not do. That's not up to me, unfortunately. But one day it will be up to me. But I think the college football, they should at least they should have more teams in the playoff series. That's why it's a playoffs. You just don't have 4 teams in there. That is just playing semifinals. That's all it is. You got to go through the quarterfinals. I mean, you have Notre Dame. I mean, even though they're not going to win it, because every time they go to the playoffs or to the championship game, they just get destroyed. So I don't know. You guys tell me. Should the FBS series be expanded, like the FCS series, to 12 teams? Because I'm actually excited for the FC series. Here's why. I'm born and raised from Montana, and my Montana Grizzlies are actually playing in the quarterfinals. If they win, they get to go play against Villanova, who beat them, I want to say, about 4 to 5 years ago in the championship game with that. Not only Montana is in it, but Montana State as well, which is a great rivalry back in Montana, if you guys ever been there. I think it's doable. And you know what? Like I said, I just hope Montana beats Villanova because I know somebody by the name of Bo Dean who went to Villanova, and we go back and forth a little bit on the little jabs because of who our teams are. Even though he has more experience in football than I do, I just talk about it or watch it. He actually played. I don't have the tendency to play football with that. So, other big news in the sports today actually is the Ravens. They lose their star cornerback Humphrey for the rest of the season. And also, this is also big news is in college basketball. You cannot get enough of college basketball. It goes all the way till March or April, I should say, because you should have March Madness March Madness. I mean, I love college basketball. I like it better than NBA because you never know what's going to happen, and so forth. As of today, Purdue, they are ranked number 1 as lowly Gonzaga, who was ranked to beat everyone this year and supposed to win it. They've lost 2 games so far. Even though they beat UCLA, but Duke beat them. So, not only that, Alabama beat them. Speaking of Alabama basketball, they're actually ranked number 9th in the nation with that. But they got beat by a nobody team, you should say, Iona. Rick Pitino, who is coaching there, the legendary Louisville coach. I don't know if you could tell him that he's legendary more for what happened, but Purdue, they have jumped the boards. They have jumped Duke. They have jumped Baylor, UCLA, Gonzaga, and everything else, and now they're number 1 with an 8-0. Here is my question to everyone who's watching or listening. Should sports teams in college follow the wins and loss records instead of going through the strength of schedules? I want to hear a good debate about that because here's what I'm saying. Cincinnati last year took Georgia down to the wire with that in football. Basketball, you never know what's going to happen in basketball. You never know who's going to go be the Cinderella team. No one knows that. Why not we just go with the records? That shows who the great teams who actually played hard. Even though, yes, all the teams do play hard and so forth, but if you're undefeated for the season, you should deserve some love and actually be somewhere in the playoffs. Even though you get destroyed in the playoffs, but you were there with an undefeated record with that. Speaking of Bodine, who I mentioned a little bit earlier, he does have a book that's coming out. I kind of want to promote because he's been great to the Coast to Coast Network. If I could have that up, please. He has a book called Race Against Race by Bodine Sanders. You don't know that, Bo? Of course you don't know this, Bo. But this book actually has some... It made number 1 on Amazon, I believe, and also it's been endorsed by the Big East Conference, which is where Villanova is right now. So that is awesome. So I just want to say good job to you, Mr. Sanders, with that one. You can buy it now. Available, I think, digital and paperback at Amazon.com. I think they have Prime delivery as well. Get it within 2 to 3 days and so forth. So with that being said, I just want to say thank you to everyone coming to the Sports Compound with the Sarge. Maybe one of these days I'm going to have guests on this show. Let's make it more entertaining. Let's have more people comment, and I can roast you guys while you comment. Why not? Let's do it. With that being said, I am the Sarge. This is a Sports Compound. Sarge out.